So yeah, thanks for making the time and joining Nazar and myself. Couple brief words. So I'm Mario. I'm VP of Revenue here at Buynomics, basically overseeing our commercial side of things, and work together with Hilti and specifically also Nazar and his team on a couple topics related to pricing and specifically the application of machine learning within pricing. And Nazar is going to share a lot more on that in a second. And yeah, I'm very pleased to have you here today and would hand over to you. And I'm very excited for the presentation.
Thank you, Mario. And hello to everyone in this webinar. Thanks for joining this session. And thanks for having me here. I'm very pleased to join your webinars. By the way, congratulations with the previous one. I watched a couple of them, really high quality discussions, great insights. Also basically shows, I think, what is happening in the industry in the last years with the rapid development of the technologies, of the insights, of the solution that is used in pricing. And I think this is also partially why it is so cool and so interesting to work in pricing in these days. So looking forward also for today's webinar, and hope you will learn also something. We will talk mainly from the B2B pricing, right? Because that's the industry where I work, and looking forward also to the questions from the audience during the presentation or at the end of that. So I will start. I guess you see my slides. Here is a couple lines about me. So I have around 20 years of experience, mainly in construction. Why? Because the last 14 years I'm with Hilti. I joined Hilti in Ukraine, where I'm originally from. I did the sales and marketing jobs there, and then I changed different locations. I worked in the headquarters in Liechtenstein and worked in Prague in our Eastern European hub. And now I'm working in Munich area, and that's where our global pricing team is located. And that's what I'm doing for the last 4 years. Maybe briefly, in pricing, we have around 90 people working in the different markets in different regions. Around 7 people that's in my team, in the global team, and the rest are spread in 10 regions that we have in the different locations. And some of the marketing managers also work in specific countries that we have. Also, a few words about Hilti, right? So you might seen the red vans in your cities or our Hilti stores. So our company was founded in 1941 in Liechtenstein, literally in the garage. It started as a small venture, and then rapidly evolved in the construction area. Now we are around 34,000 team members across different locations, with a total revenue around 6.5 billion Swiss francs. And we are a lot of innovation driven, so we positioning ourselves as the most differentiated brand that provides the most productive driven solutions for our customers. We have clear purpose of making construction better, and that is outlined in our strategy. And I think what is also special about us is that we are owned by Martin Hilti Family Trust, and since basically very beginning. Talking about what we do, right? So most of the people, when you say Hilti, they think the red tools, which indeed is a big part of our business, big part of our hardware. But beyond red tools, beyond hand tools, we also produce a lot of engineering solutions like anchors, pipe fastening systems, fire stop protection, direct fastening, and so on. And in the last years, we progressed a lot in the construction software area. We provide different solutions that actually improve productivities of our customers through differentiated software. But also we provide a lot of services, right? So our customers need a lot of support on their job site and in the offices, and that's also part of our offering. And maybe one last piece about Hilti, about our company, is that also what makes us unique in a certain way and differentiated from our competitors is our direct sales approach. And that's what we like to call is the DNA of our company, since it was from the very beginning when the company was founded. We are relying really on the direct sales approach to our customers. So basically, our customers have the direct contact, everyday contact with our with the producers, with us. That we realize with almost 300,000 contacts per day through different channels, and those channels you see on the screen. Our key channel is account managers. We have around 16,000 account managers that visit our customers in their offices and their job sites every day and support them with their needs. But we also have a customer service. We have Hilti stores in the main cities. We have fast-growing e-business, our Hilti online channel, where we also provide a lot of self-service for our customers. And we have a specialized sales force, such as field engineers, where we address not only customers, but also specifiers. And lately we added the software specialist that helps our customers to adopt the software that we also offer to them. So this is, I would say, important to mention because our DNA, our direct sales approach has influence on our pricing model, right? And that's, I would say, one leads to another, right? And this probably one of the messages that I would like to land here is that when choosing different pricing models, and we know that there are different options that companies can choose from, it is important to understand what is your business approach, what is your business model, and what pricing model would serve it the best. And that's what we were always asking ourselves when choosing which way to go in pricing. And now making the transition from company to the pricing model, I would jump back 14 years ago. That's where when I started with Hilti, not exactly in that place that you see in the picture, but in a different one. But as an introduction to the company, I started as account manager, started in sales, and that's actually one of the most common way to join Hilti, or the most common way to get onboarding to the business, because by dealing with our customers, by understanding their needs, by understanding their everyday struggles they have on the job sites, you immediately have a better understanding how we can help them and what is the best way to support. So that's how I started 14 years ago. I never had any construction experience before, right? I never actually used many of the construction tools before, but Hilti had and have a very good onboarding program. So I managed to learn quite fast which solutions do we have, how to offer them to the customers, how to show the value proposition, how to support our customers in their needs. But I would say there was one particular area where I really struggled as a new account manager joining Hilti. And this area was pricing. I still remember this time when I started to have the first successes in my job as a sales manager, showing our solutions, already consulting our customers, showing the best solutions, showing the value proposition. But then the moment when it came to closing the deal, the moment when it came to basically sending invoice to our customers, that's where I stuck, right? That was a time where we didn't have what now we call fair pricing model. It was pretty much transactional business. And the questions that I had at that time is, okay, customers want to buy my product, which price should I give, right? In this situation, how do I choose the right price? What other customers get, so to make it fair. So I had to rely a lot on the feedback of my colleagues, of my supervisor, every time to clarify, you know, for different products, which price to give. And that, I would say, slowed me a lot as a new account manager, slowed my productivity. And also, I was not sure if every time I give the right and fair price to my customers, right? So, and I guess I was not the only one who was struggling with that. And now imagine for the company with such a scale where direct sales force is the main sales channel, and this sales force changing fast, that would be the big barrier going forward, right? But luckily at that time, almost at the same year when I joined, Hilti introduced fair pricing model that completely, I would say, revolutionized the way how we do pricing in the company. And this model we use until now, continuously improving that. But this model is really the fundament and change not only the pricing, but also, I would say, in the way change the whole Hilti business. So what is this model about? As I said, it's called Fair Pricing Model. My team is actually called Fair Pricing Competence Center, so it's deeply embedded into our philosophy. And this model, when we started to look into that, we of course started with our principles, right? So what do we want to do and what we don't. Very fast we say, okay, what we don't want to do is actually what I struggle with. We don't want to do transactional based business. We don't want to do those deals on the fly. We don't want to go into this, you know, back and forth pricing negotiation every time we have the contact with our customer. But we want to build a model that is fair for our customers, that is consistent through different channels, right? So account managers, Hilti Online, Hilti Store, customer service, wherever our customer reaches us, they get consistent same price. Important was also to make it simple, right? So to make it simple also for our customers, that any account manager can explain in a matter of minutes how we do pricing at Hilti to our customers, and also simpler, of course, for account manager, and transparent throughout the channels, and consistent throughout the year. What we also realized that we, you know, cover a big amount of different customers, right? So we want to segment them by potential and also by trade, right? Because we see needs in different customers, trades can vary. So these were, I would say, 4 key principles what we said we want to include in our pricing model, and that's how we proceeded, right? So that's how we built it. And in the end, if I would explain to you in one slide how we do pricing, technically I would use probably this slide, right? So you see those four principles that we rely on. And in the end, how we realize this fair pricing model, we have 3 main pricing elements. They call price engine, agreements, and overrides, right? And that is our 3 components of fair pricing model. So very briefly, our key element is a price engine, right? And that's something that probably really differentiates our model from others. The price engine is basically the prices that are already adapted to our customers' trade and potentials, right? So here you see there are 5 different potentials. So you can imagine a potential customer class is the biggest one. So that's probably the big multinational construction companies that have, or national construction companies that have various of job sites in different cities. C, that's a mid-market company. So that's a company that would have 2, 3, 4 running projects at the same time with around 100 employees. And D and E, that's a small, rather father and son company that would have probably 1 running projects, right? So we segment our customers in that potential classes. And whenever they approach us, we provide them the prices for our products and services and software, which is already adapted to their potential class, right? So with that, we say, dear customer, it doesn't matter you are the new customer for us, you are already 1 or 2 years with us. It also doesn't matter you buy just 1 piece of hardware from us or 10 or 1,000, you already have prices that adjusted to your customer potential, right? So with that way, we really focus on the long-term customer engagement. We focus on the improving our productivity of account managers by providing those potential-based pricing. So that's one of the key elements, right? So we run almost half of our business through price engine prices. Those price engines prices are set in our marketing departments. I will talk about later. And that's, as I said, is the core of our model. Beside that, we have two other elements that provides flexibility, right? So here you see agreements, and that's normally we do with only A, B, or C customer potentials for only special parts of our portfolio where we have a big volumes on the discussion with customer or project business. For that, we can set a dedicated customer price agreement for those portfolios. And the last element, which is rather exceptions, is what we call overrides. It's a one-time deal, one-time correction of the order that we actually try to minimize, but still have it as a part of the flexibility in our model. So this is in the nutshell our fair pricing approach, fair pricing model that we are successfully running for the last almost 15 years, which relies on those three elements, and that really helps to achieve our goal of long-term customer engagement. Mario, you stop me when we have any questions or comments from the audience, because I don't see the chat. Yeah?
Yes, I will. I think there is like one or two questions coming in, but let's put them at the end.
Perfect, super. Then I will proceed. So looking at the model, right, you understand that we have also as a typical company need to excel in two areas: price setting and the price getting, right? So price setting for us is providing a better price engine, price getting agreements and overrides, and that's two equally important focuses for us, right? In the price setting area, as I mentioned here, we rely on our marketing department, namely on our product managers. We have product managers on three levels: on the global, in the headquarters, in the hubs, in the regions, and also on every market. The way how we structure that, we tend to, I would say, focus the decision making on the regional level, right? So where the regional product manager gets the input from global on the product, on the price and cost indications, but also gets the information from the market, right? To understand what is my market customers' willingness to pay, what is my competition landscape, and so on, right? And based on that, using mainly value-based pricing framework, identifies the value drivers and quantifies the economical value that we provide to our customers with our solutions, right? So that's, I would say, fundamental piece to embed the value-based pricing philosophy into our marketing. It is crucial and very important for us. This area is also close to me, because in my career at Hilti, I had those jobs. I was both market product manager, global product manager, and then leading the regional product marketing team. So our teams where we were doing that a lot. And actually here, I would say what really helps is having direct sales approach and having direct access to the customer, right? Because when I was a product manager, one thing was to do, theoretical exercise in Excel to build this value bridge, but another thing was really to go and meet the customer, to talk about the solutions, to talk about value that we bring, to understand better the willingness to pay. So that always helped me to build this value bridge for the products that I was launching in the better way. So that's, I would say, the first pillar of our price setting is to embed the value-based pricing philosophy into our portfolio. And I would say this is a journey, right? So we cannot say that we have finished that or not, but we are continuously sharpen the saw and proceed with this journey. The other area that I would like to highlight, and it's also partially the area where we work together with Mario, is the pricing analytics, right? Again, We are blessed to have all the data as being the direct sales approach. We have all the data, and our aim here is to really provide our product marketing teams top-notch analytical instruments to improve their decision making process, right? So here on the slide, we see a couple of things that we are focusing. Of course, the basis is the pricing analytics to understand better the price performance across different customer segments and so on. What we added recently, we said, okay, we also have to make it simpler for them. We have to make it more tangible and digestive because product managers, they are bombarded with all the numbers, with all the KPIs, but we would like to make it easier for them to understand and drive conclusions for that. So we worked on the things like the heat map, or we call it price acceptance score, where with a system of a traffic light, we indicate the price healthiness of different portfolios. We worked a lot on the portfolio logic, right? So especially for the companies that have a lot of, or the big portfolio, a lot of SKUs, it's important to manage that into the portfolios for better analytics and applying different strategies. Competition price intelligence was also on the topic for us. And last but not least, this predictive model, and that's I would say we are still experimenting with them and understand how new advanced technologies, how machine learning can help us to get the better insight on pricing elasticities. And there's a project that we had together with Mario to see in which areas we can drive the insights based on the pricing elasticities. So that's this second piece, right? Along with implementing value-based pricing and using top-notch pricing analytics, that's how we working to strengthen our price engine and in general our price setting capabilities. All right, good. Then I would switch to the second part, right? Second part is obviously price getting. For many B2B companies is make it or break it, right, in pricing. For us, it's also important and big area. You saw that we have those individual customer agreements, we have overrides, and in general, we do with such a big sales force and quite a big customer base, we do a lot of pricing decisions, around 3 million of pricing decisions every year in the field. And as probably it is also common for other B2B companies, not always those decisions perfectly match a certain fairness standards in terms of volume and the price, right? That's quite a common challenge. The price scattering is quite a common challenge for many B2B companies, and here are the topics that we would like to address, right? So how to, if we build our fair pricing price engine that really reflects the customer potential, how can we replicate that in the price getting areas? How we can make those decisions more fair, how we can guide our sales force for better decision making, and that's a key questions that we are addressing in the price getting area. And here, I would say probably I will not tell you anything new by saying that, you know, there are those 3 core elements that we rely on in the price getting area, where probably one of the most important is systems, right? You know, if you work in the pricing field for quite some time, you know that this area evolves quite fast in the industry. There are new solutions, CPQ solutions that you get on the markets that really helps you to process this. And that's what we are also focusing a lot in the last years. I would say it's still a journey. It's a 5-year journey for us, and we are working hard on the system side and processes as well, right? So to process 3 million of pricing decisions every year is quite a big amount of decisions, and you know, there is a big room for improvement to improve the governance process, I think. And last but not least, also analytics. As I said, here we are thinking how to provide the better guidance for our account managers in the field. And our key, I would say, instrument here is what we call peer pricing approach, where again, we segment our customers in different peer groups and see in those pricing decisions what is the peer or fair price for different products, for different volumes in different markets, right? So I would say these are three elements, and that we are focusing with on a different maturity stage. I think in the system wise, also probably as many companies, we are a little bit more progressed. Luckily, there is a bigger experience in on the market with analytics and processes. I would say we are still on the learning curve to improve that in the next years. And maybe finishing with some thoughts before we proceed into the Q&A session. I think the topic that I shared before, right, and a little bit my personal story at Hilti shows how important it is to have the right pricing model that fits to your business model, because in the end that have a big competitive advantage, right? So that's my biggest learning that I would like to share, and that's really what stays on top of our pricing strategy. Second, continuous improvement in both price setting and price getting. Again, I think we are, as I mentioned in the beginning, we are now living in really interesting times when a lot of technology-driven innovations come up that we can use in pricing, and I think from my perspective that's one of the key growth drivers of this pricing excellence in price setting and price getting. And we have to be on the wave, right? If you don't improve that, we basically would be in the less competitive advantage situation. So you have to do that. If you stop and if you don't improve, you're basically going backwards, right? So this is super important to understand. Last but not least, and that's was my I would say a personal highlight when I joined a pricing function at Hilti 4 years ago, is that this progress, right, that you do on the tools, on the processes, and the solutions, it has to be balanced with the right pricing organizations, right? With the right roles and responsibilities, profiles and people, with a right centralization, decentralization degree. I saw also looking at the other companies that can be a big pain point, right, in your pricing excellence journey. And for us, it was a big focus as well in the 4 years, how we can bring the pricing organization to the level where we can actually develop and implement all the innovations that are on our pricing roadmap. And that's something that I would probably advise to all, especially B2B companies, where pricing is not probably the most prominent function historically, right? To really pay attention that we bring it to the right level. So pricing model, really that is linked to your business model. Second, continuous improvement in the price setting, price getting, especially driven by data insight and technology innovations and solid pricing foundations. That's, I would say, is a recipe, at least for us at Hilti, and that's how we see pricing developing forward.
Awesome. Thanks a lot, Nazar. I think this was super insightful. And we do also have a lot of questions, but first, really congratulations on the amazing process and in the end also product that you've built within Hilti as an organization. I think just from an outside-in perspective, that looks, of course, very promising and very interesting insights as well. Maybe from the questions that we received in the chat, coming a little bit from an organizational level in the beginning and then diving a bit deeper into the technical aspects. So we have one question received on how does Hilti's fair pricing model actually balance consistent pricing with local market flexibility? So in a nutshell, what is the trade-off between global and local decision making for pricing?
Yeah, I think in a nutshell, price engine can be adjusted to every market need, right? So in the end, historical also was purely market decision. In the end, what we see is also importance of harmonization across the borders, right? With the price visibility that improved a lot in the last years. Also, we have all the prices on our websites. We see a need for this harmonization. And that's actually also why I was showing here, right? So we believe that the right level to set the price is rather on the regional side, right? Where you have both understanding from the global perspective on the product, but also understanding of your market, right? Because very often, if you are only focused on your market, you don't know what is happening outside in other countries, how, for example, customer in the neighboring market perceive my product and what is the price performance there. So I think it has to be balanced, right? For a lot of input from the market, right? So we don't see, I would say, fully globalized approach when the prices are set in the global, but we also see quite some disadvantages if it's done purely on the market level. So we tend to move it to the regional side.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. Follow-up question and a little bit more technical, going into the direction of your price engine. So the question is concretely, how many value drivers are you considering in your price engine? And of course, if it's not sensitive, can you explain if it is more of a mix of macro, micro, internal goals, etc.?
Yeah, so we have quite a vast portfolio if we look inside. So we sell around 15,000 SKUs in almost every market, which is around 1,000 portfolio. So I wouldn't say that we have always exactly same set of the portfolios, right? Of the value drivers. Very often they are similar, right? Because it's linked to the positioning of our brand. So we always tend to have the solutions that provides the best productivity to our customers, right? Also the best safety to our customers. So I would say those two values are very often frequently there, right? Just very simply, if you talk about the hammer drill that you see here on the picture, right? It's about performance, right? So that with with Hilti drill, I can do 1,000 applications compared to 1,000 more compared to the competitors, right? So productivity is a lot, safety as well, lifetime. So basically what you see here, that's normally would be three most common, but not necessary, right? So since the portfolio is quite broad and competition landscape is quite broad, and that's exactly the target of the product manager is to identify what are my value drivers, right? Also, even talking about the same productivity, the perceived value of this driver can be completely different, depends in which part of the world you are, right? Or how application is done, or what is the labor cost in that market. So that is also why it has to be studied and analyzed with our product marketing team.
Yeah, understood. And thanks a lot for the explanation. Maybe moving from price setting more to your price acceptance scores. We have a question here on just please elaborate how your price acceptance score works. It looks very interesting. How much can you share on how you set it up?
Yeah, so again, this came more as a feedback from our product managers, and that also I experienced on my shoulders when I worked in these teams. We can, when you have a data, right, you can produce a lot of different KPIs, right? And there is not enough creativity so to stop doing that, right? So you have a lot of KPIs, you have a lot of data, and very often me as a product manager, I struggle to interpret those data, right? Or also very bluntly, right? People just change fast, right? So let's say every 2-3 years we would have a new product manager, and it takes time. And pricing is not normally also not the first thing you learn in your new job, right? You first try to learn the product, applications, customer strategy, and then pricing. So it takes quite some time until we, keep the competence level of marketing people on the desired level. So as I said, the idea was to simplify it, right? So instead of really trying to explain them what those 5 pricing KPIs means and how to interpret them, we would convert them in the easier to understand score, right? That would indicate here, okay, this is green, it works fine, looks like price is accepted. Here is yellow, maybe you watch out and see what is happening. And this is red, right? So this is where we see that the prices doesn't work, right? From the pricing KPI perspective. So that was the main idea. How we do that, as I said, we took 3, 4, the most important pricing KPIs. We set certain thresholds, how to measure, is it green or is it yellow, is it red? And we weighted them and basically provided them in an easy to use dashboard. And we use that a lot now in our lifecycle pricing decisions.
Yeah, I think also there the great advantage of introducing such model is ultimately that you also learn from it over time, right? So setting up these thresholds in the beginning is of course very difficult because you're like establishing a new concept within the organization. But over time, you have the ability to also learn from like the performance, like how many greens, how many yellows, how many reds. And do you actually produce, and whether there are certain patterns that you can then work on again and like drive specifically pricing in the most profitable direction.
Exactly. I think it's actually this area of what you define as good in pricing is quite challenging for many companies, right? Especially when you talk to the leadership teams on the market and say, what are your pricing goals? What do you want to achieve? How do you measure success in pricing? This is quite challenging question, and I'm not sure everyone can answer that, right? So it is also important to set those metrics and set it in the way that is really understandable for everyone and easy to digest, right? You don't need to remember what are exactly the thresholds, right? Rely it on us, right? When we analyze the data, we kind of find those thresholds in the optimal way. So you don't need to remember that, right? But what you need to do is to understand, okay, if it's green, that means, okay, the price is accepted, I can continue with that. Let's say if it's red, then we would recommend to stop the prices increases or prices development and maybe think on the opportunity what you should change in your pricing strategy, right? And that's, I think, what is quite well perceived as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Very, very insightful. Last technical question, and I think this is a short one, but it's a question on your account tiering, account classification, like your A, B, C, D, E clustering. Is that based on potential spend by country or on a global level?
So that's I would say, potential of Hilti relevant potential per customer in every country, right? So we have the same classification, A, B, C, D, E. The thresholds also are the same, right? And it basically reflects how much in general what is customer potential with us, which is basically the proxy of the size of the customer, right? Of course, as I said, if the customer has 2 employees, there's only limited things what we can do, and if customer has several subcontractors in the whole country with thousands of employees, that's what is this proxy to the potential.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. Last question, philosophical one. How do you today and also going forward balance the level of automation and the application of machine learning and AI versus human input in your pricing decision making?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think I will not surprise anyone when saying that for sure we are far away from handing over decisions into AI field. So we, as I said, we learn how to drive insights from the data. And that's, I would say, the first step. We learn what is the best use case to start, right? So that's very honestly where we are now with in that area. Of course, it looks promising. Of course, especially looking at the CPG, you hear it a lot, right? But I think B2B area is a bit different, and we have to find our way to use those technologies. So and that's which discussions we had, Mario, as well, right, with you and your team. And we in the learning phase. There are promising use case, and there are already in our company successfully applied use case with AI, with machine learning model that I mentioned. But we are at the early stage, I would say, and I don't see in the short term that it will completely make a revolution in the pricing decisions that we do, but for sure it helps, I would say.
Yeah, I think I fully agree. I think that's also what we see across industries. So of course in B2B, but also in the other industries that we're serving, specifically CPG, but also software and telco, that ultimately you're not fully handing off your decision-making process, but you're enhancing it, right? So you get more data points, you get more confident in your decision-making by additional analytics and by recommendations and based on historical sales, based on historical performances. And you don't have to, or you're minimizing the guesswork that you're putting in. And I think that's really the core focus and the next bigger developments that we're seeing.
Exactly. You said it much better than I, Mario. Yeah.
Nice. All right. Thanks a lot, Nazar. I think that concludes also the Q&A session. And if you move to the last slides, I think we have 2 webinars upcoming in the next days. And Jonathan is smiling already, so I hand it over to you.
Thank you so much, Nazar. Great insights today. I really enjoyed this session. And also, Mario, thanks for moderating the Q&A section. We have 2 webinars in the pipeline that are coming next. One on Halloween, actually, which will be our yearly Halloween special on pricing horror stories. A very spooky but also funny session with our co-founder Ingo Reinhardt about which pricing stories went, or which pricing maneuvers went horribly wrong and what to avoid. Let me just paste the link where you can register into the chat. And then at the beginning of November, in 3 weeks, we also have the next expert webinar with Jamie Green from General Mills. The topic is not yet fixated. It will probably evolve around the topic of RGM and pricing, but also price pack architecture. So stay tuned. We will follow up in the emails. And as always, you get the recording to this session so you can rewatch it or share it with colleagues. And yeah, that concludes basically my marketing part. And thanks again for joining us today, Nazar. And thanks for the chat, for the great engagement, the great questions as always.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks a lot and have a great weekend.
You too.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.